Wonderful sponsors. I don't know if you just saw the news, but average U.S. household debt just hit $152,000. That's mortgages, cars, cards, student loans, but the national debt just hit $37 trillion. It's all going out. Ask yourself this: when the system hiccups, who bails you out? It's not the Fed, not the politicians, and that's why I own gold. Gold doesn't need a CEO, doesn't need missed earnings, it doesn't freeze your account on a Friday at 4:59. While they print, gold just sits there doing what it's done for thousands of years. Store value. If you're done playing musical chairs with your savings, get something real in your hand. That's why you should try our good friends Kirk Elliott Precious Metals today. Goldwithjustin.com. Kirk and the team going to walk you through what they're doing, whether you're a seasoned pro when it comes to buying precious metals or you're just getting started. Call Kirk and the team today at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900, or go to goldwithjustin.com to find out how they can help you today. No pressure, just facts and a plan. That's goldwithjustin.com. Protect what's yours with gold. Goldwithjustin.com. Do it today. When the grocery shelves go empty, you're out of time. That's the truth. Disasters hit fast. Storms, blackouts, supply chain chaos, and the first thing to vanish is food. That's why smart Americans, just like you, are stocking up now with My Patriot Supply. You can go to preparewithjustin.com right now to get a 3-month emergency food kit, and they'll even throw in a free 4-week food kit to boot. That's 4 whole months of meals ready to eat. No refrigeration needed, all with a 25-year shelf life. We're talking breakfast, lunches, dinners, over 2,000 calories a day to keep you strong when everything else shuts down. So don't wait until the crisis is here. Order today, and it ships fast and discreet. Go to preparewithjustin.com. That's preparewithjustin.com, because when the lights go out, the last thing you should be worrying about is feeding your family. Preparewithjustin.com. It's here, the grand reopening of the merch store. JustinBarkley.com/store. We've got brand new tees, hoodies, and gear in fresh designs, colors, and sizes, even some for the kids. You're going to find favorites like the FAFO, Full Around Find Out shirt, the Gulf of America tees, sweats, and more, and alligator Alcatraz design.
Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Good morning. The sun is shining. This is the moment we've all waited for all winter long. Looks like they're finally going to get that weather we've been wondering about, and I think it's going to stick around for a while. We may have some shot of showers here and there over the next day or so, but I see lots of sunshine up ahead, and we'll take it. Hopefully that you had a fantastic weekend as we honor the folks who made it all possible yesterday and all weekend long. We'll fill you in on the things that you may have missed. I got news on the Iran deal and more on the way.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
Yeah, those stories that matter most. You've been talking about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are, powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage, Dave Galloway and the team. In fact, Dave will be talking with us later this week. We just had the new Fed Chair, Kevin Warsh, who was sworn in officially. Clarence Thomas, I believe, over the weekend did the honors on Friday, and the changes are coming. What are those changes? What can you expect? Well, it's best to reach out to our good friend Dave and the entire team at Heartland Home Mortgage, find out what that might be and how it matters for you on the horizon and how you can position yourself, especially if you want to buy, refi, home equity line of credit. A lot of people are looking at that right now, especially when it comes to the out-of-control debt folks are racking up with credit cards. It's better to get on top of it now more than ever. HHMlending.com. They're faster, better than the big banks, and they'll help you today. You reach out to them.
Number one.
More than willing to do so. Hey, we've we've got this news at 95% of the way there. At least that's what they say. They've almost got a deal with the Iran situation. Of course, a lot of this really relies heavily upon the dust that is still waiting to settle here. In particular, we're talking about the uranium dust. The deal with Iran on the table, and they're looking at reopening the strait. Details expected soon on all of this. The U.S. carrying out the self-defense strikes on Iranian missile sites and mine-laying boats after some were caught maybe trying to lay some mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Officials say the limited actions won't break the fragile ceasefire. I think, in fact, what you're watching play out there is a fragmented IRGC. Trump also offering to expand the Abraham Accords by having more countries, including potentially Iran-linked nations, normalize ties with Israel as part of any final agreement, bringing peace there. Oil futures edging down as ships begin moving toward the strait, and more on that. In fact, what are we looking at right now? Dow futures up 200 points, S&P up 50, and the NASDAQ up nearly 400 points. Oil down almost 4%, and things are a-shifting. We'll talk about how that may affect you and the price at the pump as we've seen those oil prices moving. You may have heard the news talk about how the prices are dropping here in West Michigan. And some of the gas wars, you can get on some of those deals. Over the weekend, a Secret Service individual or group of them had to confront a man who had a gun. Nasir Best is his name, 21, opened fire at a White House checkpoint Saturday evening. Best known to agents from a 2025 arrest there when he claimed to be Jesus. He had obvious mental health issues. And you wonder how somebody like that can be walking the street. Yes? That happens more and more these days. A new multi-angle video capturing the exchange. ABC's Selena Wang ducking live on the North Lawn as shots ring out. Some of that making the viral moments and the rounds online. A woman in serious condition this morning after a home explosion in Plainfield Township. Still waiting on updates as the newsroom staying on top of this all morning long. The crews responding to that blast on Rollaway Drive near 7 Mile and Division had leveled the house. The cause remains under investigation. And any additional information, we'll make sure we pass on to you, updates and the like coming up here on the program. So don't go anywhere, folks. We are just getting things started. We love that you're here with us on this bright, beautiful, sunny. It's Tuesday. We have to remember that all day long. Tuesday morning right here on West Michigan Live. Jump in on the conversation. You can do that a couple of ways. The MKD Funeral Homes folks have sponsored that talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app, which looks like a little microphone. Tap that thing and start yapping.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
We've also got reports from today, and we'll get into some of this. But again, we're going back to the moon. And you'll see missions there this year. The head of NASA was on Fox and Friends this morning and made some of that. Now, they won't be manned missions at first. I think they've got 3 unmanned missions, and then eventually, we hear that it is going to eventually be manned missions headed there, and look out, because what they're going to be doing is training not just the machinery, but the astronauts and really the infrastructure to get things up so that we're ready for Mars in a few years.
The United States conducted airstrikes against southern Iran near the Strait of Hormuz and the city of Bandar Abbas. According to U.S. Central Command, these strikes were defensive in nature and went after the mine-laying vessels around this area, along with the surface-to-air missile position. These were the first U.S. strikes that have targeted Iran since early May. The strikes do come amid the backdrop of an ongoing diplomatic effort to reach an agreement between Iran and the United States. Overnight, President Trump laid out a serious condition, saying on Truth Social, the enriched uranium nuclear dust will either be immediately turned over to the United States to be brought home and destroyed, or preferably in conjunction and coordination with the Islamic Republic of Iran, destroyed in place or at another acceptable location, with the Atomic Energy Commission or its equivalent being witness to this process and event. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, a regional intelligence official told Fox News no less important is the dismantlement of Iran's enrichment facilities. That way, not only will Iran not have enriched material, they also won't have the means to enrich more. The key to preventing Iran from getting its hands on a nuclear weapon is taking the bullets, but also taking the gun itself.
And there is no other way around this. I don't know. You're just not going to see any other way possible that a deal gets done without fully, completely removing the nuclear capabilities, that dust and all of that. That's priority number one. And so they can't have a nuclear weapon. They won't have a nuclear weapon. There will be no further, I think, movement on that. And I think at some point this becomes inevitable and obvious to every single one. But the problem again, there's two things I'm hearing on this. Number one, it's my gut is that you have a division in the country. Well, first you have the people of Iran and how they feel about their government. But then in that government infrastructure, you have the politicians, the political class. This is, the people who are serving in office, right? The parliament, president, supreme leader, whatever. But then you also have the IRGC. And think of these individuals kind of like warlord, sort of terrorist types. They're the ones who eventually are going to have to go along with some of this or get snuffed out altogether. They're the ones that are dragging this process along. And then there's another problem. There's another snag, which is kind of, well, I don't know if I call it funny, but it is interesting. And it is the fact that it's taking all of this much longer because what we're told is the supreme leader, the Ayatollah, the guy that we don't even know if a guy's still alive or not. Apparently, they're having a hard time, getting the messages back and forth. That's maybe they're going to hell and back. I don't know. It's interesting because if he is alive and he is able to communicate, he's probably in a cave somewhere, and that's just adding time to all of this. Anyway, just part of what we're hearing this morning as we get a little closer to it all. But again, I'm not holding my breath that we're going to have a deal like today or tomorrow. We've heard that so many times, and I don't know when it gonna. And you realize takes two to tango, and you've got to have people that are on the other side, rational and reasonable. I just don't know that any of that's likely. In the meantime, I know China's gotten involved. I know that these other Saudi Arabia and some of these other places have gotten involved as well. So this thing continues on. We'll give you the updates as they come in, folks.
FYI, like literally, it's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
the Midwesterner this Tuesday, May 26th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Customs and Border Patrol agents out of Detroit reporting lots and lots of drug seizures along our northern border. More than 100 million lethal doses of fentanyl taken off the streets last year. The Detroit sector leading all northern border sectors in drug seizures since 2019. The feds say the agents have reached a critical milestone by seizing enough fentanyl to kill more than 100 million Americans. Leaders in Van Buren Township approving local tax breaks amounting to almost $125 million for Google to build a huge data center in the area, despite pushback from the community. And former Michigan Attorney General Mike Cox demanding Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson immediately release records tied to her past involvement with the Southern Poverty Law Center. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Welcome in, folks. The behind-the-scenes live stream rolling full speed ahead on this Tuesday. Back at it, and the week is underway. I'll say good morning to the folks in the Freedom Fam right now. I see Salo Sue, Patriot Dean, good to see you. Sharon, thank you so much. Michigan Joe, appreciate you guys being here with us this morning over on the VIP. Yep, we've got the rumble rolling right along with Tree Frog, History Digger, Tennisel, thank you, SJ, Julianne, Jen, Lynn, Kurt. Thank you all. Duga, thank you so much for being here with us this morning, guys. We appreciate you on the book. Booker's hanging out with us today. We got Sally, Sean, Sherry, Bruce, Tammy, Cindy. I saw some folks over on the tube as well. Tubers, Chuck. Good morning. Bonnie, good to see you. No matter where you're watching from, even the Getters this morning. We say, hey, X, folks on X today, Twitter X as well. Just say, hey, let us know where you're watching from, and they'll give you a little bit of a shout out. Stand by for news. Oh, yeah, we do have some good news. In fact, we'll do some of that coming up here in just a little bit. Stand by. About 30 seconds left. Did anybody catch any of the president yesterday? They were all together because he had to call off. This is the other thing. Calls off his son's, can't go to the son's wedding. They originally were going to have Don Jr.'s wedding at the White House. And they said it's just the optics and everything. We can't do it there. Too much security issues and all the rest of it. So they decided what they were going to do is that they were going to have it in, I think it's like some little island in the Bahamas somewhere. So they did that. And president can't go. So he couldn't even go, had to miss his son's wedding. Hang on. Back on the air, folks. What a weekend with the kids running around having a great time, a blast at the cottage. And there was a little time to do just that. Lindsay's family's got a little spot that we like to go to, especially as the weather starts to warm up. And now we're in full speed. So things are warming up. You're going to want to do a lot of things that you haven't been able to necessarily get to yet. Maybe some walks on the beach. Maybe some taking care of that garden that you always promised yourself you'd plant. Maybe it's keeping up after the kids and the grandkids. I know it's a full-time job. And boy, it is. It's fully worth it. The pay is priceless. And let me tell you, I just couldn't do it. The things that we do on a daily basis, keeping me on my toes are the news and the stories, but also up to date with all of the wonderful things that these kids are into and involved in every day. You don't have to miss out on life. That's my point to you. You can do it in comfort and with confidence in the folks at the Good Feet store. Walk in today. You know I've been ranting and raving, telling you about how great they are, and you've been putting it off all this time. The folks that know have gone. They feel amazing, and you hear their stories day after day when I talk to them on the streets. When I meet people in real life, they just tell me, you wouldn't believe how good I feel. The Good Feet store, 28th Street, right in front of Costco. But you go into Portage there on Westnedge in front of Kohl's and see what I've been blabbing about forever, and you're going to thank me. Probably give me a big hug when you see me out in person. All right. Big weekend over the way. I don't know if you saw this. President Trump, we're just talking about the negotiations around. President Trump skips his son's wedding. Supposed to go do that. I think originally they were going to have it at the White House, and then Don Jr. is getting married, I guess, on an island somewhere. And of course, they can't do it. Got to get these negotiations done, and they were heavily negotiating through the weekend. All three of the heavy hitters: President Trump, Vice President Vance, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, at Arlington over the weekend for a somber ceremony there at the tomb of the unknown soldier, which I had just the honor of being with folks on an honor flight to witness the changing the guard at the tomb of the unknown soldier, and there's nothing like it. Now, I didn't cut that off. The clip did. I was going to let that play through, even though we did the national anthem earlier today. But that's the clip that came from the internet, so I didn't cut that off. But it was a stunning moment, and again, there's more video and whatnot from the weekend. We'll try and get to you coming up here in just a little bit. All right, jumping on the phone, and we'll talk to you if you want to join the program. 616-774-2424. Mike in Wyoming. How are you, my friend?
Good morning, Justin. Say, Justin, I just want to give you a quick question. So if we end up getting the so-called nuke dust from the Iranians, what makes you think that's just going to straighten out this oil in the Strait situation? I'm not tying the two together. I'm thinking, remember that TV series Mission Impossible with Peter Graves, Jim Phelps on the Impossible Mission? I'm thinking might dig him up and see if he can't sneak in there and snatch that stuff.
They have a plan. They are monitoring it. They're watching it. Yeah, they're watching it right now. But I will say what's interesting. The two are not connected. The nuke dust out in some ways, I guess you can make the connection, because if they actually have nuclear weapons, you really do have to worry even more so about the Strait of Hormuz. You think gas is high now, just wait to see what it would be like if Iran had a nuclear weapon. They would do exactly what they're doing now, and even more so to an even greater extent. They would be holding the world hostage. So that's what we're seeing kind of play out right now. I'm not worried about the Strait as much anymore. I think you have, particularly when you have countries like China specifically, that are moving and pushing Iran to get this deal done so they can get this all out of the way. I think it's a foregone conclusion. Just how long and how much up and down, back and forth nonsense are we going to have to go through? And then the question, and I think this is also a very valid question. Just can you believe anything that comes out of the mouths of these folks from Iran? I would say, probably leaning against that one. Leaning against that. But that's why Reagan had trust but verify, and will hold them to it. Particularly with force. And I will say, I've seen a little bit of a glimpse of what is on the table in this deal. Maybe we can share a little bit of that later. We'll go to the moon coming up too. Trent Kennedy, Affordable Light Store, Lake Michigan Drive, and Standale, the latest. Why are we going to the moon? And starting this year, missions actually landing on the moon. Fill you in on that coming up after this.
It's West Michigan Live, checking around the hour news headlines and more after this on Wood Radio.
FYI. Like, literally. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Markets up big, and this is in the pre-trading hours at Dow Futures, S&P, NASDAQ, all up. And some of that coming because of the news of what's coming out of the Strait of Hormuz in Iran. Oil prices down nearly 4% this morning as well. But it often feels like a roller coaster ride, whether you want to retire today or tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road, whether it's good news or bad news in the markets. You can sleep better at night, not have to feel nauseous with the ups and downs of the deal. The folks at Talon Wealth, Mike Lester and the team, guardingyournestegg.com. They're going to walk you through everything you need to know. And then make sure you get to where you want to go when you need to get there. Again, guardingyournestegg.com. Reach out to them today. Call them 616-661-1000.
Spring has arrived, and at Shaftsma Heating and Cooling, we're rolling out the red carpet for you. Because when Michigan weather starts warming up, your AC should be ready for its big debut. And if it's not, no.
Okay. In Iran, they're paying $47 for a dozen eggs. That's incredible. I do know that their inflation is through the roof there right now. All right, Trent is going to jump in. We're going to do a test real quick, and I'm going to get into some of this other stuff as we round the corner on our Tech Talk segment. Hey, Trent, I welcome in, by the way. Appreciate you.
Good morning, Justin.
Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend. We're learning now, earlier this morning, NASA made the announcement talking about more missions to Mars. They're going back, the moon. They're going back to the moon and essentially eventually to Mars. That's the whole point of it. So we're going to give folks a chance to hear and talk a little bit about the first crew that goes in. Actually will go in a little bit later this month, this summer. So what does that look like? This is brand new, and I'll send that over to you as well. But it's going to be, I think, a really interesting couple of years here, because what we're told is that these moon missions are supposed to set us up so that we're ready to go to Mars at some point. Now that, you talk about blowing minds, that will blow my mind. So anyway, Trent, that's part of what we have lined up for our conversation today. Pope has a massive warning about AI. Young boys are getting addicted to AI. Girlfriends, by the way, I don't think that was the Pope's biggest issue with it, but that might be an issue with it as well. Because it is kind of taking over in some of these relationship areas. And then we have leaked Chinese surveillance program tracking people. And then made in China. What could go wrong? Plus, I've got a video, and I've been meaning to get to this. I think it happened last week or that last weekend. And it happened right here in Grand Rapids. And in fact, it made some big headlines. So we'll talk about that. It was a commencement speech. And a lot of these folks have been talking about AI in their commencement speeches. In fact, one college used AI to read the names of the graduates, and it broke down halfway through, so they had to cut this thing off. Oh, gosh. And these students are not happy about it. But this guy had some interesting things to say, and he made some news for all the right reasons here in our own backyard. So we'll talk about that coming up as well. Trent, you look good. You sound good. We'll be rolling right along coming up here in just a moment.
Sounds good.
You got it. All right, folks, hang in there. We're on a mission to the moon.
Historic mission around the moon to discuss what comes next for space exploration.
I think it's simple. The world showed that they're hungry for this.
We're not just trying to get to the moon, the equator. We're trying to build the transportation infrastructure to be able to go there, get to the South Pole, and also we want to go to stay.
Today, NASA is set to outline new developments in its moon base initiative aimed at building a long-term American presence on the lunar surface, which would be amazing. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman joins us now. Jared, great to see you again.
Great to see you. Great to talk about this subject.
This is going to be fascinating. That's probably the best way I can put it, because as they start going and the speed of which they're going to do this, you'll see
He talks about it in this interview. This happened earlier this morning. They have a big press conference scheduled for later today, too. But the speed at which they're going to be sending up things, they got to get the infrastructure set up out there before they send the people up, too. So that's part of what we're going to be watching. And I think, some of the things we're going to be hearing about is mining on the moon at some point. We're going to hear about data centers, maybe on the moon and in space at some point, because it's easier to keep them cooled up there. All of that stuff is on the table. And I know it sounds weird. I get it. I know it sounds goofy as all get out, but it is. I just saw a comment. I don't think we'll ever be living on Mars. I can't see myself ever. I have a hard time, going out of the country. I don't think I'll be leaving the planet anytime soon, but I don't know. We'll see. Could be wrong. I'm not signing up for the first mission anyway. Hey, if you haven't done it yet this morning, please click share. We've got some really good stuff inside the store, justinbarclay.com/store. And I want to give you something cool for actually being a part of the Sharing is Caring crew today. So lots of folks in the Freedom Fam helping us get the word out. Why is this important? Because it helps break the algorithm. It really, they hold us back as much as they can. It happens on the daily. And it is unfortunate, but some days Facebook loves us. Some days they hate us. And every time you help share, you help us get the word out so that people can hear these stories, the stories that matter most, and ones that they're not going to hear on the nightly news. We know that much. Lester and the whoever's doing it now. Anderson Cooper. Anderson, the fact of the matter is, I am the side. You remember Anderson? Oh, with Fauci. Yeah, it's time to lock him up. Remember, we weren't able to talk about any of this. Facebook was the culprit. They were right behind it. Anyway, we've come a long way, and yet we still got a ways to go. So let's keep that in mind. You click share. You can help us get the word out today, no matter where you're watching. Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Locals, Getter, YouTube, you name it. And we appreciate it. No matter what you do, whether it's sharing those stories, sharing our broadcast, or supporting the folks who support the program. MyPillow.com/Justin. Mike Lindell's Memorial Day mattress sale, I think, still has a few hours still left. If you haven't saved already, save 50% off and get free shipping when you go to MyPillow.com/Justin. MyStore.com/Justin.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Yes, sir. Fast and Furious back at it after a fantastic weekend, folks. I hope you're well tanned and well rested. My pasty. Well, it may take me a little time. I'll just say for me to get the tan worked up, but I wonder if you get a better tan on the moon. We're headed back there, as you know.
No, well, you made this announcement, a month and a half ago, and today is the news conference. What's the next step? What are you planning to talk about today?
This is Jared Isaacman from NASA.
For sure. Well, if everyone is still coming off the high of the Artemis II crew that you just showed on the screen right now, we do have the what's next in the works. So we're actually going to begin stacking the Artemis III rocket for the next astronaut mission this summer. But I'd say in parallel, we're also going back to the moon to stay. We're building that moon base. We announced it last month, but we got some updates for you today. We're going to talk about the first 3 missions that are coming up. These are uncrewed robotic missions to the surface. We're also going to talk about some announcements related to missions that will fly later next year and in 2028, including the first rover that someday, when our astronauts get to the surface of the moon, they're going to drive around in. So we've got a lot of fun topics today.
All right, we're go for launch here, folks.
Back into the latest in tech and how it affects you and your world. This is Tech Talk Tuesday on Wood Radio's West Michigan Live.
All right, I'm already seeing in the comments, so I got to ask this. By the way, first of all, welcome in Trent Knibbie, Affordable Store, Lake Michigan Drive in Standale. Trent Knibbie, Grand River Tech as well. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us. So let's stay a little closer to home in West Michigan here. We're not going to completely go to the moon just yet. In fact, you kind of heard him saying, we're going to send these robots, we're going to send these advanced teams of robotics and things like that before people ever go back to the moon. But why do we want to go in the first place is the question. And I thought, and I saw something interesting. Doug says, I have zero interest in paying for space travel. So the question is, will Doug pay for space travel, or will some of this be private in the exploration that's done? And then secondly, why is this important? Why do we need to go back there?
Yeah, Justin, that's pretty controversial subjects because obviously, yes, tax dollars are paying for a massive amount of the budgets that are going for these things. The difference here versus this time around the race to the moon versus the, over 50 years ago. 50 years ago, as a government conglomerate, lots of money was made. Yes, there was local companies even that made parts for the moon missions and the Apollo rockets and stuff like that. But SpaceX, Blue Origin, these are private companies that the money that goes into them is definitely being used to develop their technologies for things like Starlink, for example. It would be impossible to grow Starlink in the future without better rockets, better technology, better communication that this space program is going to sort of pay for. So, Justin, it is kind of a weird conglomerate of public and private funds. As far as the long-term taxpayer payback, Justin, we would have to find some really valuable resources on the moon that the government could then use or private industry could then use and sell. I don't know how that exactly gets back into the hands of the common people, as most money that the government takes, they find a way to spend it and still need more. So I'm a little bit pessimistic on that front, Justin, and I'm not sure how much gold we're going to find on the moon. There's claims to be valuable resources.
Gold on the moon?
Not sure.
You think there's gold on the moon?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think they're going to mine for other things. I don't know about gold. I don't know what the moon's made of. I heard it was Swiss cheese long time ago. I don't know if we've had any advancements there, but I do know that they're looking to use it as a base, then to launch to Mars, which is a whole nother. That sounds even crazier to a lot of folks. Wait a minute, Mars? Why do we need to go to Mars? But they will. They'll use it as a base because they don't have as much gravitational pull there. And they'll be able to launch to Mars or anywhere else at some point. At least that's Elon Musk's dream. One day we may head to Mars. Is there anything more than Swiss cheese on Mars?
Yeah, Justin, I think the search for life on the moon, we don't hear anything of that, though that was the age-old reason to explore the moon, sort of, and now Mars too. I think the more that we get rovers, the more we research there, the less we're going to find of actual quote unquote life on Mars. So then it turns to a race, a prestigious thing, a research thing. And like you said, maybe there's some valuable material that could be mined out of there. I'm skeptical of all that, Justin. I think it's a technology race. I think it's a power race. And I think that's the real driving factors here.
I will just say this and to put a little bow on what you just meant. I think there's a lot more happening. A lot more going on behind the scenes on these news stories than what meets the eye. And yes, everything possible from AI and where they're going to put data centers. They think they can have better cooling operations in space. So while they're trying to put one in your backyard on farmland, pristine farmland, remember, they're thinking about putting these in space too. So there's a lot happening behind the scenes on those. Only time will tell how it all sort of plays out. AI, speaking, which is another one of these things we're watching. The Pope issuing a major AI warning. And yeah, I mean, I get it. We should be concerned about AI. I don't know that anything's going to stop it. But what is the Pope worried about with this quote Tower of Babel, which does sound familiar, doesn't it, Trent?
Yes, Justin, this is a official papal release. Not being a Protestant from West Michigan, Justin, I don't always agree with the Pope, but in this one, he nailed it. He's got some good points there, Justin. He's saying that, look at when you have AI, it has the power of AI is so immense that when it's in the hands of a handful of developers or government authority, that power is so massive and so basically the accountability, Justin. Look at if bad people get in power. Look at Hitler. Look what can happen when somebody has a small group of people or one person has that much power. And AI is that tool. There's obviously the whole work-labor situation where what's going to happen to labor. And the Pope, I wish he would touch more about this in his article, but basically there's nothing wrong with technology making our lives easier, Justin. But what does it replace it with?
Yeah.
And what does AI do to replace it with? Do we all become creatures of non-work, which is then pleasure and selfish reasons? Justin, that's what destroyed humans in the first place. And that's not healthy for us as people. So
Well, I think it's a good point. What are we giving up for these things? And I think, look, we ought to have these conversations. And with the data centers and everything else, I often point out, look, we need to have these conversations now, not after the genie or the toothpaste is out of the bottom of the tube. That's just the issue. In fact, they're watching this happen right now. There is a group of young boys who are now becoming addicted to AI girlfriends. I don't know why they could possibly see what they see in this scenario. Maybe there's a longing for connection, but again, we go replacing the real thing with something synthetic. There's always something that is missing or can be.
Yeah, Justin, and that's something that's not easily removable, Justin. And once it takes over someone's psyche, it's an addiction, Justin. It's like smoking, it's like drinking, it's like hard drug use. It's virtually impossible to stop that. It's very challenging to stop that. And AI has those powers to infiltrate our lives. You could say stronger than physical drugs. And even if we don't understand all the exact science yet of why AI is so addictive, down the road, if AI is honest enough, it'll help us to reveal that chemically, physically, how it has the ability to suck us in and pull us in.
Affordable Ice to Lake Michigan in the Drive in Stanville and Grand River Tech, our good friend Trent Kennedy, always warning against the dangers of some of these things. Hacking, spying, all types of issues that you may face, whether it's in your organization or in your personal life. Well, it's confirmed again, the secret Chinese surveillance program tracking people like you, possibly. That's the story that has come out here in just the last couple of days. And Trent, you say, hey, this really isn't anything we knew. We've seen this before and not too long ago.
Yeah, Justin, basically what this is the Chinese, you say this is Chinese government. This is actually one of the more local Chinese precincts came up with their own system to surveil people in China that are dissident to their beliefs and their belief system. So if somebody is a journalist who doesn't like certain Chinese policies, they're going to track these people personally. But we don't realize it goes much more beyond that. They were actually tracking their influence. So their family, their friends, people who they send messages and emails to out, they're basically tracking their ideas or their influence as if it's a virus. So think of how we tracked COVID as point of contact. They're literally treating people's ideas and communication as a virus. And Justin, this eerily kind of points back to COVID here, where often if you were sharing information that was deemed misinformation, that was often tracked virally stronger than the actual virus itself was.
Yeah. No, I know. And I was one of the worst offenders at times. In fact, so this China's social credit score system, by the way, that is behind all of this. And yeah, we're watching it play out. Gosh. In real time now. Okay, one last thing, and then we'll get to the feel good story from here. Made in China. What could go wrong? Anti-mosquito drone, Iron Dome. There may be the next leap in pest control tech. And you say it uses a laser, Trent?
Yeah, Justin, this is the new high-tech item right straight out of China, where it's this little box you stick on your patio. It's got a computer inside. It's got a radar type system, and it literally scans for mosquitoes, and it sends out a laser beam, and it fries that mosquito, and then you're good to go. Now, Justin, I don't know about you, but in my backyard, I'm afraid we're going to need about 50 or 100 of these guys, and I'm really afraid of my electric bill because there's just a few mosquitoes where I live. But what can go wrong here, Justin? This is a device that literally has radar. It has a computer processor. It's scanning your backyard for all of the objects. Yes, it is made in China, and I guarantee you it's going to require a Wi-Fi connection for software updates, which really means we're just going to reliably send information back to China about everything that's flying in your backyard.
But where do they figure out that I'm the real pest in the backyard? And they say, well, let's get rid of this guy. I don't know, man. I don't love it. I do love this though. This is incredible. Making national headlines for the speech given right here in our own backyard. A commencement speech in the last couple of days, last week. So we've seen a lot of these have gone wrong because they're talking about AI, and the students don't love to hear that. And then the other thing that we're hearing, which is interesting too, is that there was AI used in a, I guess in one of those commencement ceremonies where it was announcing the names of the students. The thing broke down, and they had to cancel, basically say everybody can walk through, but we're not going to announce the names anymore. Steve Wozniak, one of those folks who was around Apple in the early days at Grand Valley State University, on the I guess it was about 25 days ago.
You all have AI. You all have AI, actual intelligence. My entire life in the technical world, I've been following people that were trying to figure out how to make a brain, software, hardware, synapse chips. And I was at a company where the engineers figured out how to make a brain. It takes 9 months. You all have AI.
Hey, Trent knows all about that all too well, my friend. What a fantastic speech and a great moment, because everybody was talking AI of a different kind at these commencement speeches. And I think those are probably conversations that need to be had, but I don't think the students wanted to talk about those particularly at that moment. What a great time and a place for that there at Grand Valley.
Yeah, Justin, it's refreshing to see somebody who has so many years of life and experience in the real world, and then also somebody who can take that many years. I mean, he's getting up there in his age, and then compare that to AI, and I guarantee he has a great grasp of AI with his experience and technology and his connections. To say, hey, there is no replacement for a human brain, and as great as AI is, there will never be a replacement for a human brain. That's refreshing to hear, and I think we need to hear more about that to encourage our young people that this world needs them, and they have talents and gifts that will be utilized into the future, and AI is not going to destroy the world. We can't let that happen.
Grand River Tech and the Affordable iStore both helping power this program and this segment today and every week. Trent, always a pleasure. We appreciate you taking the time. A little truth, logic, and common sense in our Tech Talk segment. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Justin. Have a great day.
You got it. More coming up in just moments. Folks, don't go anywhere. Fastest hour on radio is just flying by. We're right back after this. It's News Radio, Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Breaking down the story. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Tuesday, May 26th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Mike Cox demanding Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson answer some serious questions. The former Michigan Attorney General demanding Benson immediately release records tied to her past involvement with the disgraced Southern Poverty Law Center. In other news, it's not what some of the residents want, but leaders in Van Buren Township approving local tax breaks amounting to almost $125 million for Google to build a huge data center in the area. Local residents concerned about this project. And Customs and Border Patrol agents out of the Detroit sector hard at work rounding up drugs at our northern border. More than 100 million lethal doses of fentanyl taken off the streets last year, which could have killed millions of addicted Americans. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
48 countries.
Only one winner.
Yes. iHeartRadio and Fox.
All right, folks, rolling right along. Thank you for being here with us. If you haven't already clicked share yet today, I highly recommend it as we roll full speed ahead. Thanks to one of our sponsors, healthadjustin.com, My Pure Health Solutions. If you haven't seen the latest episode, Maha Missy and I talking about some of the bigger stories, particularly your food, what they've been doing, what's in her food, why things have gone so sideways. But the good news about how they're working to change some of this, and boy, oh boy, do we need more of it. We're just barely starting to scratch the surface on all of this. In fact, we'll talk with Maha Missy again tomorrow. So you got questions for her? Drop them in the chat. let me know what you'd like to get answered, and we'll make sure that we'll get some of that for you. Also need to check the markets. We'll do that coming back, and I got a couple other things, particularly in the I just can't too hot for radio. We'll put it that way. I just can't quite get to until we get off the air. The after show, the show after the show, is coming up in just a moment as well. So stand by, folks, for that here in just probably 30 seconds from now. Like I said, in the meantime, if you haven't shared the show yet, make sure you do that. That'll help us get the word out. You'll break through the algorithm and the noise and get these stories of truth, logic, and common sense out to the folks who need it most. Anybody does. Got to get in the running for one of the cool t-shirts, a hoodie, a mug, something cool from inside my store. JustinBarclay.com/store. By the way, Sean, are you here today? Sean sent me, I got an email looking good. His coffee mug at breakfast the other day. I love it. The One Nation Under God mug, I think, is the one that he chose. Anyway, lots of cool stuff on the store if you want to help support us. It's not like we make an arm and a leg off the whole thing, but it does help keep the things rolling here. Back on the air, folks. We've got new Ring camera footage that's been released in the explosion of that home, Plainfield Township.
Rollaway Drive in Comstock Park. If you zoom in here, there used to be a home. The home is completely leveled now. You can't see it at all.
Wow.
And if you can get through the smoke at all, there's a charred vehicle back there. It looks like the smoke is just absolutely covering it right now. I will say we could see and smell this cloud of smoke from about a mile away. This is a really shocking scene here. All we
we don't know the details, but a lot of times you see stuff like this, it's a gas leak or something, unfortunately, that leads to this. And goodness, praying for that woman who is still in very serious condition. Details, the latest news coming up in our headlines, top of the hour here. Meantime, checking the stock market. We've got the latest as things are moving. Dow opened up in the green along with the S&P and the NASDAQ. Down a little from where they were in the futures. It looks like oil's still down too. So Brent oil price has jumped a little bit after Iran is vowing to retaliate for U.S. airstrikes, but we know that's just talk. Let's see, where are we on oil right now? Yeah, it's it jumped up. It was down 6%. So now it's down 3 something. So anyway, it's a roller coaster ride. It always is. Been talking about this ever since the beginning of time. The folks at Town Wealth want to help make sure that you're ready for retirement, no matter what those days look like. So make sure you reach out to Mike Lester and the team today at guardingyournestegg.com to find out how they can help you and get on track so that you're ready for no matter what may come in your retirement age and days ahead. All right, we've got lots to cover in the after show. I got some stuff too hot for the radio. I mean, some stuff I think if I played on the radio, I might get in trouble. I mean, may not be here the next day if that were the case. Some of that pertaining to the Michigan governor's race, we'll talk about that. And I'll sort of try to tiptoe through a little bit of it, but the fastest down radio always just flies right by. We appreciate you being here with us for it. That's why we do the after show, by the way. You asked for it, you demanded it. We're giving the people what they want. You can listen live or archive the iHeartRadio app or Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, no matter where it is. Folks, always appreciate you being a part of this program. The Glenn Beck program, Glenn's back from Europe with us today, and he's up next right here. Don't go anywhere. Make it a great one. God bless. I will be done. I don't know if this is now. It was this day our daily bread, as we forget. Right, folks, stand by. Were you able to hear the Lord's Prayer? Let me do this. It looks like it may have been cut off. So let me make sure we do that today.
Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
Right. Now it's full speed ahead in the after show, the show after the show. Stand by.
Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay.
And to the after show. It's the show after the show. Never a dull moment. Never enough time to get to it all, but yet we've started what this called is the after show, folks. You asked for it, you demanded, we're giving the people what they want. Thank you for being here with us. Thanks to the folks who power this show each and every day. I've got Too Hot for Radio. This is incredible what we're seeing with the Michigan governor race particularly, but it's we've been talking about this for a while now. It's creeping into politics everywhere right now, and it's taking us, I think, down a whole new path. So let's get into that coming up in just a little bit. In the meantime, thanks to the folks that helped make this program possible. MyPillow.com/Justin, MyStore.com/Justin. Free shipping, 50% off on the MyPillow Memorial Day mattress sale. It's still underway right now. If you haven't had a chance to get in there and check it out, get in there and do it. Anytime you need anything from the store, it's always helpful just to go look and see if Mike has it first. They give you free shipping on orders over $100. And again, they help support this program. And I don't know if you saw it over the weekend, but it's a big shout out because people were asking about this. I think Friday before I took off, people were like, hey, what's the story? What's Mike doing in Minnesota? Well, in fact, I got a message from Mike's people. Mike Lindell leads in the race in Minnesota for governor right now. New polling shows him leading the Republican field just days before the convention. Now, he doesn't have it yet, but if he got an endorsement from President Trump, his lead would grow to 22 points. So, again, what I think they're probably asking for, hoping what would happen is that President Trump would come in and say, Mike's the guy. Likes the guy. Now, I do know Lisa DeMuth. She's been on the show before. She's, I think was she Speaker of the House? She's a strong conservative voice as well. But again, there's only one Mike Lindell. And I don't endorse in this type of thing, but, he's got my full endorsement because he's the man. So there you have it. And again, that's how the numbers switch up. Now, this is just Republican. Obviously, this is the Republican convention. I think, now correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think they vote at convention. I don't know. That's a really good question. They vote at convention, or is there a primary? Anyway, you can support Mike's campaign if you'd like to at LindellGov.com. Let's ask Grok real quick. Where all of this fraud is taking place in Minnesota right now. Grok is saying that the Minnesota Republican Democrat nominee for governor is chosen by voters in a primary election, not at the party convention. So there you go. This is just going into the convention. Primary election happens August 11th, 2026. I think that might be the same day as ours. I haven't mentioned this on the air yet, but I might try to see if we can get her on tomorrow. I've been thinking about this. We mentioned, I think it was Friday, here in Michigan, the Axe My Tax initiative failed to make the ballot. Failed to make the ballot. Failed to make the signatures. However, again, I don't think failed at all because the conversation around this is happening so much to the point that these now the legislature's moving on it. So folks in the legislature are now, what the likelihood of that ends up being, I'm not exactly sure how that all plays out. Right now, particularly with the Democrats controlling the Senate and whatnot. But I'm not ruling it out. I think the conversation it's been elevated to a place that it needs to it needs to happen. So anyway, that's the latest on the signature gathering. But I was thinking maybe tomorrow, if we can work it out. If not, maybe in the coming days, Carla Wagner, get Carla to come on and talk about what happened there, and then what happens moving forward. Because again, so many people worked so hard and tirelessly on making that work, and unfortunately, they didn't get the desired result of getting it on the ballot. I think getting that on the ballot would have been fantastic. But at the end of the day, it didn't happen. So that is the latest. I think we mentioned it Friday. I just wanted to make sure we got it out there again. All right. Let's see. What else do I got? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. I gotta do this. I told you here in Michigan, things have gone off the rails. Well, the Spencer Pratt style, AI kind of advertisements are taking over. In fact, we showed you one last week that was really funny. Then we showed you this one. Eric Nesbitt put out a campaign.
Wait, so the 20 million went to what? Community development or something? I asked AI to come up with the charity.
Anyway, that's Faye Baydoun, the Democrat donor, and then Gretchen Whitmer driving down the road talking about the $20 million they siphoned off. And like I said, there was another grassroots one that was put together, and I think it may have helped take out Mike Duggan, who we learned again last week is out of the race as an independent.
We've turned Detroit around. Just imagine what I'll do for the whole state as governor. This place could use some Detroit magic.
I'm sorry, but this thing was just hilarious. I just, what they're able to do with AI is so good, but does it ever cross the line? Some people may think so. The latest, although I'll tell you, it's effective for some, and I'm not going to play all of this because, first of all, it's 3 minutes long. I'll tell you where to go find it. I'll put it up and you can share it or watch it. But it's 3 minutes long and it's making a joke over and over again that I think, again, it's a little too much for me personally. But again, it is effective because people are going to start talking about this stuff. Terry, the Duff did a great job. He always does against Duggan, but that Duggan thing, it was a multi-pronged issue. It wasn't a one person. But he deserves a pat on the back, and he's somebody else that we should probably try and get on here the next day or so. So the AI ad features a lot of different candidates that are running for governor here in Michigan on the Republican side. It actually features some of the Democrats too. Opens up with Anthony Hudson driving down the road in his semi truck, and
And you'll see where this goes before too long.
For 20 long years, Michigan has been without Cox. People have been left hanging, frustrated, and honestly, a little blue.
Back when Mike Cox was Attorney General, criminals were
Okay, I have to stop. So this is essentially going to become an ad here to and it's not done by the campaign at all. Trust me. I've heard that's a fact. But you've got inside the apparently this is Carla's place. Or supposed to look like it. There's Carla pouring coffee. And in the back, you've got Eric Nesbitt. You've got Perry Johnson. I believe that's Anthony Hudson again. Michonne Maddock. And then Matt Maddock, who I know those folks real well too. Matt's been on the program. And so's Michonne, actually. I think all these people in this photo have been on this program. Anyway, they're all wearing these red hats that say Cox.
terrified of Cox. These days, everything feels soft.
Too soft. Like that Johnson.
I miss waking up every morning knowing Michigan had Cox protecting it.
Damn right.
Lord, the state needs help. Amen. I pray for Cox every single day, sometimes twice on Sundays. Strong leadership, law and order, lower taxes, that's Cox right there. And if we don't get Cox back in Lansing soon, we're all going to suffer.
That's supposed to be Ralph. Like the voices are not, I think, spot on, but the images are pretty good.
Damn. Where's my tractor? Michonne, where's my Cox mug? That's better.
Vote for Cox? Why not?
Where's my Bible?
Oh, it's better. That's better. I'll finally vote yes on something. Vote for Cox.
Vote for Cox.
Vote for Cox. Wait, where's John?
Here comes John James.
I wouldn't fly with him. He always loses statewide. And he never shows up. Yeah. You better not put kill switches in my tractor.
When I ran statewide, I got beat by Peters. But when Cox ran, he beat Peters.
Yeah, I'm voting for Cox. Why not?
I lost twice statewide. But Cox won twice statewide. We all need to fly with Mike Cox.
Yeah, I'm voting for Cox. Why not?
Why not?
Okay. This is just a minute and a half in, folks.
We love Cox.
Vote for Cox.
And if you support Cox today,
we'll send you a commemorative cocksucker.
All right. That's as far as I go. I'm not playing any more of it. You get the point. My point of showing you this is that this whole ability for a person, one person who probably sat in his living room to do this, put it together is hilarious. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. And again, it's the point of the video. And the why it's effective is they're essentially saying the only person has a chance to actually win against Jocelyn Benson is Mike Cox, and for these reasons. It's bringing it up, obviously raising the name and the score through, let's be honest, sophomoric reasons. But it is effective marketing. It is effective advertisement. And it is, it's not going to be the last time. It's not the first, and it's not the last time. Again, the AI stuff, I don't know how you cross the line at some point into slop and the rest of it. And will it go too far? Has this gone too far? Will you go to a point where people go, oh, it's not one of those AI things? I don't know. I don't think people think these are real. I think they just think they're parodies, kind of like a Saturday Night Live skit or whatever. Again, I'll tell you where to get it. I'll put it up in the stack, but it's like 2 minutes left of this. There's 2 more minutes of what you saw, and it gets a little nuttier and nuttier as it goes along, but it's having the desired effect. I can tell you that much right now. Speaking of Spencer Pratt, he's asked about how he's going to clean up LA in the latest, and I thought it was just priceless, the answer he got. And speaking of his new ads, this one might be the latest. And again, I don't know how many, he put them together. How many times did he put this together? Like, has his campaign put it out? Or are there other people that are doing stuff because they just love what he's doing? They want to support him. But you talk about effective. Look at this. Power washing the streets of LA. So they're like on Skid Row, and they've essentially powered washed into the sidewalk. Imagine if the streets were clean. Spencer Pratt for mayor. So they take the streets that are nasty and dirty, they take a little template and power wash on top of it. You talk about effective. That's guerrilla marketing at its finest, folks. Holy smoke. That's incredible. That is just another level. Another level. Folks, the one thing I will say, and I think this is real. I don't think that one's AI. I think that actually happened. We have reached a point, though, where the real life average American, whoever it is, just to see this all play out, can get involved in a level that they've never been able to get involved in before. And they're putting these politicians to shame. Just listen to this, like a smug reporter asking Spencer Pratt the other day, well, how are you going to clean up where are you going to get the money to do? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do? Listen to his answer, particularly on the homelessness.
I want to ask you, what are your plans for the over 40,000 homeless in Los Angeles?
Yeah, they're not homeless.
What are your plans? That's the other thing. It's like, well, who's going to do it? Like, how do you have any experience dealing with this? And I'm just like, I'm floored because these morons, you see what the people with experience, so-called experience, have gotten us. It's this whole trust the experts thing, and it just doesn't check out. The whole thing is just absolutely, it falls up just with the evidence of observation of reality. So how are you going to fix it? What are you going to do?
I want to ask you, what are your plans for the over 40,000 homeless in Los Angeles?
Yeah, they're not homeless. They're drug addicts. Most of these people are addicted to fentanyl and meth. This isn't Spencer making it up.
Are you saying they don't have homes?
There is places for all of these people to sleep in LA. No matter what anybody tells you, we have housing and shelter for everyone that's living on the street. They are choosing to be on the street because they want to do drugs. They don't want rules. They don't want to listen. They want to have animals to abuse. This idea that they're forced on the street right now is a lie that our city is perpetuating. We've paid $24 billion to house these 40,000 people. There's spots for all of these people. They are choosing because they're an addict, and you can do fentanyl and sewer meth on the sidewalk with no repercussions. These places are not as they have to follow some rules. You can't torture a dog in some of these houses. You can't just attack people. You can't just be naked.
Where are you going to move?
Well, I just released a 9-minute video, so you can.
I think I saw your video.
Yeah, so it's very detailed.
But it's going to take time to build the facility and money.
No.
How fast do you think you can do it?
That's the funny thing. They always have these excuses. The reporters say, yeah, well, what do you think about it? It's going to do this, and that's going to happen. Spencer's like, no, it's not. His answer's priceless.
These people can literally, I went to Washington and I saw miles of the most insane prefabricated housing and building. I asked all the CEOs of these companies, say, how long does this take? I met with FEMA and HUD, 3 days. 3 days. And all of this is cheaper than trying to take over, kick senior citizens out of their buildings. Is what happens. They kick them out, and then the NGOs come in and they spend 4 years. This is LA. This is LA's timetable.
Where is this facility going to be?
It's on beautiful federal land property.
Where, in LA County?
Well, when I'm mayor, I'll go meet with the federal government and I'll get the property. Right now, I'm just running, so I can't give you the exact address because I don't have the legal responsibility to go represent Los Angeles and say, can I have this land? But when I'm mayor, I promise you, because we have the Olympics coming.
They'll do it. This is a foregone conclusion. If he's mayor, he will clean this up. And none of these people, including the reporters especially, but none of the politicians or reporters, any of them, want to see any of this changed. They don't really want the place cleaned up because that screws up the grift. that screws up the grift. What's the real grift? The NGOs inserting themselves, getting grant money and all kinds of federal money. Your money that they just suck off the government teat, pull it into, and they never have to do anything. We're watching it right now with the Medicaid fraud and the autism fraud, all of this throughout Minnesota. California, you think Minnesota is bad? California puts it to shame just to the size and scope and scale.
And everybody in the government wants LA to be the #1 most beautiful city. They will work with me to give me the land I need.
So you're going to move these 40,000 people somewhere, and you're going to have this facility up in, you said, how long?
Here's what you got to realize.
90 days?
Let me explain something. These 40,000 people, 60% of them, City Watch just announced this week, are not from Los Angeles.
Listen to
They're
this.
not from California.
This is it.
These
Right
people
here.
have been bussed in by scam rehabs, scam NGOs,
Here you go.
scam homeless nonprofits. These people, when I unplug
They're
them
not
and say,
from
we're
LA.
not taking our tax money anymore, they're all going to Seattle, where the mayor will welcome them. These are products to a lot of people. So the people that want to keep doing drugs and live on the
Got to deport them to Seattle.
sidewalk,
That's hilarious.
a lot of these people are going to
Hilarious.
leave. The other ones, there's a lot of criminals. There's people that are getting naked in front of kids. They're going to jail. The people that are torturing animals, they're going to jail. So not everyone goes in the same box. So we have the money, we have the resources, and we have the facilities.
Let's talk about the money, because you
I love the hat, by the way. Do you notice the hat? It's a Lakers style hat that says Pratt on it. Beautiful. Campaign is making waves, and right now we're seeing, and again, remember, we're told, we're supposed to be told, that MAGA's over, Trump's done, none of this, all of this is done. Nobody wants any of this anymore. Trump's failed, all that stuff, and it just couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, this is the best evidence for it all. This is the spawning of Trump. He's essentially now broken himself off into little pieces, and there are people that have been inspired by him that are, going on to fight the fight in a good. Imagine Spencer Pratt. Whoever thought Spencer Pratt, some former reality TV guy, was going to end up getting this involved in politics and actually be the mayor of LA? Well, they messed with the wrong guy. He said, I've had enough. You mess with the man and his family, you back him into a corner, there's nothing else he can do. I mean, it's either fight or flight. He doesn't want to leave LA. And they pushed him too far. They pushed him way too far. So, meanwhile, you want to see something cool? You want to see something that's just utterly patriotic on a scale that you probably like, so which haven't really seen before? What you're looking at here is footage of the Hoover Dam from this weekend. This is so cool. The flag on the Hoover Dam, just so you can understand the scale and the scope of this, it looks like it takes up about maybe not even half the length of the dam itself, like the height of it. You've got the red and the blue and then stars all across the cutout of the dam on the inside. That flag that's pictured there, that flag is the size of a football field. That's incredible. Look at that. And again, this is all gearing up for America 250 as celebrations are set to get underway and have already gotten underway in places all across the country. It's just another reminder of what the president can do and what we can do as Americans when we actually think about, hey, this country is great. It's worth saving. And by the way, we I see a lot of this in the right sometimes too. So why are we worried about this? Or why are they doing that? When we need this and when we need that. I think we're able to chew bubble gum, right? Walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. Now, I know we haven't seen a lot of that in recent history. I understand there's been some problems, right? Particularly with Democrats who are completely inept. But that's not completely true. See, they don't want to be effective. They don't want to be effective. They don't want, in fact, they are very effective. I think you could make the case. What they're really playing for here, what they're really up to now more than anything else, I think it's clear as they've been participating in trying to bring the country down in a way we've never seen it before. And it has been underway for decades now. But the Americans have stood up. They've said enough is enough. They fought back. MAGA is alive and well. This idea that we're not giving up on this country, this idea that the country, since its founding, has always been great, will always be great. All we must do is step up, stand up, and fight and never back down, never surrender. And coming off of a weekend that we just came off on, Memorial Day weekend, where we recognize those folks who fought the good fight for us. It's more important now than ever before. All right, after that inspiring moment, I got to show you something that's eyebrow raising. This is Miss Wayne County. She is riding in the convertible, I believe yesterday at the Memorial Day Parade. In her hijab. This has raised a few eyebrows over the weekend on the internet, and I think it ought to. Now, this is totally Wayne County. This is. It says people that lived in Wayne County, if you understand the side of the state, you understand here in Michigan. This is not this is not unusual. But it is so shocking to the core, I think, for a lot of folks, and particularly to people that may see this throughout the country. Watching this play out, it is really tough to watch. And again, as I mentioned, it's probably not something that you want to see. Again, Miss Wayne County. How does this happen? Oh, Senator Andy Kim over the weekend got a full dose of reality. His eyes being washed out by medics after getting between clashing federal agents and far-left agitators blocking the entrance at an ICE facility, an ICE detention center in New Jersey. And this, folks, is what Find Out looks like. There he is. None of his eyes washed out because he got that tear gas or whatever, the mustard. Whatever, I don't know what they use.
I understand, but he's a senator. Respectfully, still. You got the pictures over there. This is his paper.
You see, there was a leftist at the end that tried to, look at this. They tried to swipe the camera on.
Still, you got the pictures over there. This is his paper.
So, why wouldn't they want that out there? Why wouldn't they want pictures or video of this guy out there? Because it was a find out moment. It doesn't look good at all. You would think, though, maybe they'd want to use that somehow to, I don't look. Nothing shocks me or surprises me anymore. None of this stuff does. I don't know about you. But nothing shocks me anymore. None of you watch some of the things that are, Hey, is that election today? Is the primary today in Texas? I know Trump was it yesterday? I know it was last week. It was the 19th, 20th, something like that. It came out and endorsed Ken Paxton in Texas. Yeah, the primaries today. Polls are open right now as we speak all across the state. As incumbent Rhino Senator John Cornyn takes on Texas Attorney General Paxton, who then got the president's endorsement. Like I said last week, if you are in Texas, get out and vote.
The polls are now open in my home state of Texas for the Republican Senate primary runoff as Ken Paxton takes on incumbent John Cornyn for a chance to face Democratic State Representative James Talarico in November. Paxton going after Cornyn's record on Fox and Friends yesterday.
He fought Trump on the border wall. He did not want the border wall. Now, supposedly in his new campaign, he's for it. But for the last couple of decades, he's been against it. He's pushed amnesty. He helped Joe Biden basically pass the most restrictive Second Amendment bill in maybe decades. So there are many things that John is running on now that are so different from how he's governed, and it's time for a change in Texas.
The senior senator from the great state of Texas, John Cornyn, joins us now to make his case.
Yeah, I don't care. I didn't watch. I listened, but I could hear Lawrence's voice. I don't think he wanted to do that. I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but man, he did not sound. He did not sound very enthusiastic about wanting to do this interview. RFK Jr. We'll ask Maha Missy about this tomorrow in rare form. The guy's a snake wrangler. This is one of the wildest dudes I've ever seen. Is he out there in his socks in the patio removing 2 snakes from Dr. Oz's plate? He's got his socks on, man. Look at that. Going after 2 snakes. These are black racers. They're not poisonous, but I don't care. I wouldn't want to mess around with them. I don't like snakes.
What are they?
Hang on. Somebody asked, what are they? Maybe you should have figured that out before you go picking up the snake.
So, what are they?
That was Oz.
Well, they were having sex, so what were they?
Moccasins. Who's a
No,
secret?
they're not moccasins.
Huh?
They're not moccasins.
Oh. Okay.
Are they biting?
Yeah. honey,
That's your wife. His wife. That's so funny. She's in the background. Okay, honey, put it down,
Oh my God.
Jesus, the mouths are huge.
Bobby, please.
How many times do you think she's probably had to say this to him? On the beach with black snakes on the patio, and he's got him. He's saying, like, that's your Department of Health and Human Services director. Oh, this is never a dull moment, folks. You won't catch me catching snakes. I can tell you that much. But we got lots to hit, obviously, in the coming days or so. We'll have the results from that primary tomorrow. Paxton wins. Holy smokes. Taking out another one. Trump will claim another victim. Cornyn, the interview, just so in case you're wondering what he says, he basically says, Paxton's dangerous because he could lose to Talarico, the Democrat. Because, mainstream media. That's why you got to keep me in here. That's essentially his play, which I thought was extremely ineffective. But we'll have results for that tomorrow. We may have more news in this deal and around, and I don't know if we can square it away or not, but maybe we'll hear from Carl with Axe My Tax and get the scoop on what happens next. As I mentioned, that's a story that I want to follow up on as well. I'll reach out to Charlie too in the coming days to get Charlie LaDuff on the program. A little later on this week, we're going to hear from Dave Galloway with the Fed chair, new Fed chair Kevin Warsh, the Trump appointee, and whether those rates could be coming down, what that means for all of us in the days ahead. Make it a great one, folks. Wishing you the best. God bless.
I'm Dr. Kirk Elliott, founder of Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. After being in the industry for more than a decade, I knew there was a better way. It's an exciting time to invest in gold and silver with the most significant bull market I've ever seen. But please don't overpay for your stuff. At KEPM, we focus on low-cost bullion only, and we don't charge a commission when you sell. We would love to connect with you, so call our office at 720-605-3900
or go to goldwithjustin.com today. Congratulations to Sally. She's our winner today in the Sharing is Caring contest. No matter where you share, folks, we appreciate you getting it out there, whether it's on your page or in groups. Matter of fact, the more you share, the more helps. Congratulations to entries in the running to win. It's something cool. Sally picked something out of the store. We love to send it to you. T-shirts, hoodies, mugs, or more. God bless. Make it a great one, folks.